I'm Derek.
And I'm Jared, and this is Two Peas and a Pod.
What's up, buddy? How's it going?
Oh, not much, not much. Just another fun day. We got some weather. I think you got some weather as well.
Yeah.
Um, and so work's been fun. Missing some trucks, been grounded. So what is that? Ooh, uh-oh.
What are you doing in your brother's crib? Like, get the F out of there. Like, if he
Uh,
wakes up, I'm gonna be pissed.
oh, that's funny. That's
Anyway,
funny.
yeah, so weather. So, yeah, I was actually in South Dakota Sunday morning. We got up at like 5 a.m., loaded the kids up by 6, and we're on the road to try to kind of get out ahead of the weather. And we did that. We did that. It was mostly a safe trip. But I figure, long as you're going about 80, you kind of just glide right over all the ice anyway.
Yeah,
So,
yeah. Just keep it straight. You'll be fine.
yeah, exactly. Let momentum carry you through until somebody's going 40 out there because they don't know how to drive.
What car did you take? Did you take the old your car or your wife's?
Nah, we were in the van.
Oh, there you go. That is a prime piece of technology that
Mm-hmm.
that
It's like a living
caravan.
room. It's like a living room on wheels, man.
Yeah,
Pretty
yeah.
awesome.
I always
Do you
said
guys
I'd
get a
get
lot
one
of
of
snow
those.
there? You get
Nothing,
quite a bit. Oh, you got
nothing,
nothing. Oh,
nothing.
I'm sitting on like I would say it's between. I'd say between 6 and 10 is what we got. It's hard
Jeez,
to
you
tell because
got
it was
hit.
wet. Yeah, it's
Yeah,
pretty wet stuff, so it's really
yeah.
hard to say. But I mean, like where I snowplow, I mean, where I blew my snow, it's like
Mm,
24, 30 inches
yeah.
tall,
The drifts because of the wind and stuff.
Well,
We
just where
had
I blew it, like that's how much piled
oh
up off my driveway. So I mean, I'm
yeah,
running a single lane driveway. Like that
yeah.
tells you decent snow.
I uh I got like 2.5 days of rain and wind down here, so
Mm,
just didn't get cold enough, I guess.
yeah,
So yeah, I'm glad it's over. It's gonna be 66 this weekend for
nice.
Easter weekend. So super excited to
Can't
not be
can't
cold.
complain about that.
Right, right.
Yeah, we're
So
in the 40s. It looks like just with a
eh,
quick glance.
you're about what 3-4
40s.
hours north of us. So
Yeah, yeah.
well,
So anyway,
it's
speaking
March.
of, and speaking of it, March, how's your bracket doing?
What
It's
bracket?
perfect still.
What bracket? What are you talking about? I didn't make a bracket this
Oh,
year.
you didn't make a bracket. Well, Baylor
No.
lost, so there go. Mine exploded in round two.
Yeah, yeah.
Both of mine did. So I was looking at the data on it using the ESPN perfect bracket tracker. There was approximately 22 million. That's just through the ESPN. CBS. A lot of these different
Yep.
folks do have their own. So this is
Yeah.
just off of ESPN numbers. And I believe by the end of round day one, I don't even think much into day two. I think there was like 10, maybe 5, 6.
Yep.
It didn't last very long. Historically, the best run anybody ever had was 49. 49 games in a row out of 63.
Yep.
That's the most game.
Yep.
63. They got 49 right, which
So
is first round, all the first round, all the second round. It was in the
mhm.
third round in the Sweet 16. Then they finally got one wrong.
I think two things on that. One, I think where most of the brackets busted, and I wouldn't, and most is it probably like maybe 70%, we'll say, was when Kansas got upset. Kansas lost
Um,
to Gonzaga, or
well,
was
I
it
can.
before that? Because that was a
So,
huge. I mean, and if you didn't have a perfect bracket going into that round, anyone that took Kansas deep, which was a lot of people, got just screwed. And
yeah.
second, isn't it crazy? However many years, 10, 50, 30 years, whatever we people have been making brackets, that the statistically no one has gotten it perfect bracket out of
Well,
how many brackets?
yeah. So, a little bit about that. So, okay, I'm going to tell you two here real quick. So, the number one dethroner
Mm-hmm.
was West Virginia loss.
Oh, okay.
The number 9 loss. 10, that took out 10.2 million peeps.
That's a
Next
lot.
was next was the Virginia loss.
Yeah, I can see that.
That took out 8.1 million.
Oh, are you looking for Kansas, or are you just kind of going through the top
Kansas,
busters?
yeah, it's not even on there.
Really? Well,
Kansas isn't
maybe
even
I'm wrong.
listed. So,
I thought
yeah, 20 million brackets have fallen. 0 brackets remain.
Yeah.
So the odds of getting a perfect bracket are 1 in 9.22 quintillion.
Go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah, a quintillion is a billion billion.
So what's the lottery? Trillions? 1 in trillions?
I don't actually know the probability on the lottery. I mean, I could Google that. Why don't you Google that? I'll let our listeners
you
know.
expand.
So if everybody in the world filled out a billion brackets, we would still have 1.27 quintillion variables that had not been answered.
Wow.
So there's a possibility that we would still not get a perfect bracket, even if everybody in the world filled out a billion brackets, which is
that makes
impossible.
More sense. Yeah.
Impossible, right?
And you only win.
How long does it take to count to 1 million?
Well, you only win $1 million, right? If you get a perfect bracket.
No. Warren Buffett said he would give somebody $1 billion.
$1 billion
with a B. If they got it right. If they ever did it. And a guy got 49.
To put that into perspective, the chances of winning the Powerball, which is probably what most people like go for with the quantities, the high dollars, 1 in 292.2 million is the odds for you to win the Powerball.
What is it?
292.2 million. So definitely a little bit of a gap there.
Yeah, so for that guy to have gotten 49 games right. Oh, sorry. I got to do it like this. So what you do is you take 2 to the power of the number of times.
Mm-hmm.
So given he got 49, we're doing 2 to the power of 59.
49.
Sorry, to the power of 49. For him to have gotten 49 correct, that's millions. That's 1 in 562 trillion.
He did all right.
Yeah.
And then the next statistic, it says, to put into perspective, you have a 1 in 1.22 million chance of cause of death or injury from getting struck by lightning in a given year.
Yeah, I think you have a better chance of getting struck by lightning 3 times than you do of winning the lottery.
Fun fact, I had a friend who actually got struck by lightning while he was out patrolling. He's a sheriff up in Sioux Falls. Well, Brookings at the time, but got struck by lightning. So I do know somebody who had that happen. And yikes.
Yeah. I have a friend who's a police officer that was living with a highway patrolman, and I put on his uniform, and he got mad that I put on his roommate's uniform.
Okay.
Yep. Pretty awesome.
I'm glad we both know people in the service of policemen / law enforcement.
F the police. No, I'm just kidding.
So
I'm just kidding.
I think I'm more interested right now in this whole Caitlin Clark bonanza over March Madness. I mean, she's been the talk of college almost, especially basketball, for the last year and a half with everything that's been going on.
Now, does she have a championship yet?
No, she got second last year to LSU.
But I think was she not in the? Has she not been in 2 of them? I believe this would be her 3rd. I thought.
I only started following it last year when she started getting close to records and wondering if she was gonna declare for the draft, all that kind of stuff. So
yeah,
I think it's crazy. I guess I was reading up on it. She, at a young age, they wouldn't let her play with girls in girls basketball growing up. So she actually had to play with boys, and she was beating them to the point where they were trying to get her kicked off to not play with the boys because she was that good.
Oh, wow.
So, she declared for the WNBA this year. So she's officially going.
Yep.
So that's pretty cool.
So she's the all-time leading scorer for both men's and women's.
Technically, for the NCAA, yes.
D1,
all time, no.
Okay.
Earl Moore, I think, was the all-time scorer with 4,000 points back in the 70s, from what I was reading up on, and that back then there was no 3-pointer. So it's definitely an interesting piece. So, yeah, I mean, I guess it is what it is, right? I think it's still a huge accomplishment to be the over 3,000 points. I mean, it's pretty big accomplishment if you ask me.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, let's see here. So she's doing pretty good for triple doubles. She's second among both men and women with 17. The only person is Sabrina Ionescu with 26. Sorry, Sabrina, if I butchered your name. She's the first division player to ever record 3,700 points, 1,000 assists, and 850 rebounds. So, yeah, I mean, definitely a generational talent.
Yeah,
as they like to say in the sports media, generational talent.
Mm-hmm.
One of the things about Caitlin that was kind of breaking news per se yesterday, I saw this on the Pat McAfee show, was the 3-on-3 league.
Yeah,
actually
I did see that,
offered her a $5 million contract.
Yep.
To come play for them. And Ice Cube, who is the owner of that, the Big Three, I believe, is the name of the division.
Yep.
The Big Three mentioned that, and they are willing to work with the WNBA, or I should say the WNBA is willing to work with her, because as far as they were discussing, there would only be one conflicting game where, and let's be honest, like,
she'd be the
nobody in the WNBA is making $5 million.
Right.
And then let's also just state, like, it's 10 games is what the Big Three plays on Saturdays. It's broadcasted by both CBS. Both are broadcasted by CBS. WNBA games and Big Three games. So it's like, from a television standpoint, it probably worked out just fine. And Ice Cube Pat McAfee asked him, and Ice Cube said, yeah, that probably would happen, is that they'd be willing to have the games in a city that would make sense where that conflict game was not such a big deal.
It'd be the first player to both play in the Big Three and the WNBA. While you were talking about that, I pulled up the highest paid WNBA player, Jackie Young, makes 2 years $504,000 is the highest paid WNBA player. That's a little bit of a gap.
Yeah.
But
huge. I mean, Supermax contracts, I think, are like $26 million or something like that a year for NBA players.
NBA? Yeah. And that's a whole other topic about the difference in salaries and all that I don't think we should dive into today. But that's definitely a bigger conversation.
Yeah. Definitely so. I mean, but you got to fill seats. That's all I'm going to say.
Yeah. It's all about how big your organization you're playing for is.
Are you sellable? Are you marketable? I can tell you this. I can't go put on skimpy swimsuits.
You could.
And start an Instagram.
You could.
And I mean, nobody wants it. And I know that. That's not a talent that I have. Nobody cares.
Got a thing. Everyone's got a thing.
Everybody does. Yeah, exactly. And that's not mine. And just in sports.
No, I'm saying.
I'm not. Caitlin is an awesome human being to watch.
Yep.
She's going to do good things for the WNBA and for the Big Three.
Yep.
Good job, Caitlin. Good job, Caitlin.
That's him actually clapping. For audio listeners, he's not doing an app; he's actually clapping. So
yes, I was.
That.
My
was
wife's
a good clap. Holy cow! Nice clap. That was a nice.
Thank you.
Nice clap.
I'm a hand model.
Just look.
My wife's cousin is actually one of the most decorated WNBA players in history. If there's WNBA fans out there listening, Lindsay Whalen would be my wife's cousin, and I think they won 6 titles. I mean, they definitely, the Minnesota Lynx are definitely a far better
Minnesota team
legacy. Yes. Yes, exactly. Than the Timberwolves.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah. And
Yeah,
the
they have
NFL, and
far.
the Vikings, and the Vikings.
Yeah, I mean, all of
and the
those combined
Wild.
don't have as many. Yeah, she was on,
Yeah.
the USA Olympic team, and
That's
she was
awesome.
She was the point guard. She was kind of renowned as probably one of the greatest point guards. Her stint in college basketball coaching at the U of M did not go as well, but she kind of came in and I'm making excuses for her. These are not excuses I've ever heard her make, I don't actually necessarily connect with her. I've never talked to her in my life. But she's in the family.
Yeah.
Anyway, the portal, the NIL, all this stuff started happening right when she took over. And I'm guessing Lindsay, who literally played for the same team for her entire career, went to college at the same. There's a certain level of loyalty that she understands and probably expected and accepted in, and maybe wasn't ready for that kind of a change to maybe happen. And everybody's trying to figure it out. Go look at the Alabama head coach. What was his name?
Nick Saban.
Nick Saban. Thank you. Nick Saban is even saying that we should be taking care of college athletes. Not saying that that's a problem. But our ability as coaches now to develop young men and to develop young women and make them not just money hungry or actually kind of hold them accountable for their actions, because you confront them on something and all of a sudden they're just like, fine, I'll go play for somebody else who's going to, blow smoke up my ass and make me feel good about myself. And it's like, well, that's not good for your long-term character. But
So I agree on everything you said, and I'm actually going to go on a little bit of a rant. You could call it Jerem's rant, because I've got a lot of feelings. I've got a lot.
I'm going to do that every time somebody goes on a rant. I'm going to do a little.
God, I'm gonna tag.
Probably not.
Here.
But
maybe. We'll see. It's already
we'll see.
It's already recorded now,
down.
so I just gotta pull that clip. Just gotta play
soundboard
it. NIL, right? So for those of you guys that don't know, NIL stands for name, image, and likeness, right? So it's all about who you are as a person, your brand, all that. So what was it? 2 years ago, the NCAA approved NIL deals for college athletes. Prior to that, nobody could get paid essentially for being a college athlete besides full ride scholarships, housing, those kinds of things. Are correct?
But the NCAA and the colleges made money on those athletes.
Correct. So they made money off of that through jersey sales or through ticket sales, all that kind of stuff. So I think they needed to do something about that, right? Because you can't make money off a person without someone wanting part of it. But I think it's gone too far. And now, like you said, right, everyone is chasing fame or they're chasing that dollar. So Nick Saban, right, he retired after the end of the season. His quote, I wrote it down because it was a pretty good quote. Even though he says it's not the real reason he retired, it was more for his health. I don't know that I believe that. He said, I just don't feel like I could do that. I didn't want to get into a year-to-year deal that doesn't help anybody and doesn't help you continue to build and be at the standard that I want to be at and want this program to be at, right? So, Ohio State, Alabama, even Clemson, like those big name football teams, right? They had a history. People wanted to go play for them because of the coaching staff, because of who the culture they built year to year, right? You want to go play and you want to be a part of something like that. And I think the NIL just ripped that away, because look at the transfer portal for Colorado State, right? They had over 80 transfers last year because they wanted to go play for a big name Sanders,
and would get paid. And would get paid probably.
Paid. Right.
Yeah.
And
one devil's advocate moment here. I just want to throw this in there so that you can continue to explain around it. So one thing that's been thrown back at Nick Saban is, oh, so you mean now it's legal for everybody to do what you were already doing? Probably. Because there's always been shade thrown around that kind of stuff. Like, how does Alabama recruit so well? Is it just name, or was there some backyard fundraiser, welcome to the,
Sure.
Hey,
I know that happens. I 100% believe that happens, right? But how many times have they been in championship games? How many times have they won? And yeah, it's probably because of the recruiting, but just because they recruited doesn't mean that uh that's what they did from day one and started to win championships, right? They had a good program. They had good players come in. They built good teams year after year after year, and then it turned into I'll recruit the top names and get everyone else in between, right?
Yeah.
Because they're not recruiting people that are okay. They get those and then they go recruit the big names, right?
Yeah.
So, but I don't know. I think it's the right thing. I think it's just overexpanded because that brings into question why didn't Caitlyn declare for the WNBA last year? Was it because she wanted to chase records? Is it because she wanted to prove herself and win a championship? Was it because she knew she could make millions for the NIL and not have to? College obviously is different than WNBA or professional, right? The level of intensity, the talent.
Well, it's the best of the best, yeah.
Right. So, do I skate another year, make a couple mil, and then go in the WNBA? Like, what was her reason?
Yeah. Well, I think though too, you gotta once you go, you can't go back.
Sure.
And let's be honest, like that's you only get 4 years to get that title. You could have a 1-year career in the WNBA. You could have a 12-year career. You could have a career-ending injury. All those things could happen. But what I would say, and again, I'm just putting words in her mouth, is that it's like she's probably looking at it as like, this is my one and only chance to get this done. I really wanted it. I think if she would have won it last year, probably would have went.
Yeah.
So, but did Michael Jordan win a
I don't know
title?
much of his UNC years, unfortunately.
No, I don't. And you're a UNC fan.
Yeah, I'm a light-hearted UNC fan. I couldn't.
I think they lost to Maryland.
5 players. You asked me 5 players that play at UNC in the last 5 years. I would name Michael Jordan as one of them because I have no idea.
I think they were in it his junior year and lost to Maryland. Don't quote me on that, but I think it's something like that. I'm not 100% positive.
Win a NCAA. Hey, look, Google was listening. It was the first search thing. He won 1 national championship in 3 seasons with North Carolina. He won it when he was a freshman, thanks to his game-winning jumper against Georgetown.
Oh, yes. So, and that was like that was the moment. So have you seen the movie Air Jordan or Air?
No, I haven't. I want to.
It's like Matt Damon. That's the moment that they were like, that's our guy. In the movie. I don't know if that's real life again, based on a true story, how much of it is.
Loosely
but
based,
that was
probably.
But that was the moment because they were like, do you see that? He's like a young guy, and he wanted the ball. You could see he was the killer. Moment. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. And Michael Jordan has always wanted the ball. That's one of my gripes against LeBron James, for instance, versus Michael Jordan is guys that have hit game winners for LeBron James are Mike Miller from South Dakota. And Mike the Meth Head Miller. and Kyrie Irving. Like, Michael Jordan would never let somebody else shoot the ball when it matters. And I'm not saying that that's necessarily a good thing, but what I'm saying is that's a killer. And I think that's the one piece that just like, I feel like if LeBron James has like some of the most, I think he has like the most playoff wins of all times. He also has the most playoff losses of all time.
As well.
Yes, that's what I'm saying. Like, he's been in it like 20, like. Yeah,
he's been in like 10 finals.
So there's some things. Things. Did he pass him in points? Absolutely. Because he's also played like, Michael Jordan even took 2 years off to go try to suck at a different sport.
Hey, he did pretty good at golf. He did better than we did.
Baseball?
Baseball. I'm not talking about baseball. I'm talking about golf. Didn't he go play golf too?
No, it's baseball. He does golf though. He does golf. Oh, he loves golfing. He loves golfing.
Well, baseball. I mean, if you can go play in 2 different NBA like professional leagues, like that's just an all around just athlete. If you ask me.
Yeah. So to come another component of this NIL thing, which I do, again, I think the kids needed to get paid. It was kind of bogus that the schools and the NCAA got to make all the money off of them. New little thing into the fold, sports gambling has become very popular.
Right.
And the NCAA just decided that prop bets in college sports are no longer acceptable.
I think you should explain prop bets to the
So,
audience
so a
that
prop
doesn't
bet
know.
could be, yeah, a prop bet would be like, Derek's gonna get over under 2 assists tonight, and because yes, these kids are getting paid some money, but many of them don't have the ability to. They like, let's be honest, like they're done. They're not going on into
Right.
the
They're
NBA,
not gonna. Yeah,
right?
they're not gonna get drafted.
Yeah, I think there's a total of like 500 athletes that go into the NBA of tens of thousands that are in college, and if you
Yeah.
go even to the
High
high school
school,
levels, like
yeah.
it just. So you were talking about a very elite group, right?
Right.
So these guys aren't going to go on to make a bunch of money. Why not take some of this money I am making and go ahead and just put that on? Yeah, I'm not going to get 2 assists tonight because I have control over that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but I thought they could. I thought people couldn't bet if they're actually playing.
How do you
Even,
know? If
Well,
my,
I mean,
if I
look
tell
how
my
many
dad,
players.
hey, Dad, take some of my money and go do this.
Yeah. I'm
So
just
they're
saying,
just removing
they-
prop bets from college sports.
Yeah, I get that. I mean, I'm just you look at the NFL and how many in the last couple of years, 4, like 2 or 5 NFL players. My goodness, were suspended for illegally gambling.
Yeah.
I mean, but I mean, sure, it happens.
It hurts the
It's
integrity
just-
of the game.
Yeah,
You have to wonder.
yeah,
You know?
yeah.
Boy, that guy played like garbage tonight. Wonder why.
Yeah, Brett
Everybody
Favre.
always already thinks it's rigged. Everybody already thinks it's script. Did
Yeah.
you just say Brett Favre?
Aaron Rodgers, Brett Favre. There's sometimes where you wonder how they even got to start. But
You're showing your
That's,
colors, green and yellow.
Green and yellow. Let's go. Green Bay, go Pack, go. 0.03% chance of being a pro or having a pro career, just in men's basketball. Since we're talking about March Madness,
From college or
for high school seniors, basically. So basically, out of 156,000 people, 44 seniors would be drafted in the NBA after college. So just overall, as a person playing the sport,
that's an annual graduation rate?
doesn't say. Just says it says this means that almost 156,000 male high school senior basketball players, only 44 of them will be drafted to play the NBA. So it's a 0.03% chance. So I think it's the percentage versus the quantity. I just pulled up the stat while you were talking. I mean, if you want to dig in and find a different stat, I'm sure, just like anything, it depends on what you look at. But yeah, so that was my end of my rant for the NIL. I apologize if that was long-winded for some folks or folks don't agree. I think I think like with big things like NFL and NBA or NCAA, we get this notion that everyone should be compensated, and then we just throw it out there. And they got to be a little more protective, because if you look at like Johnny Manziel, right, and they had a documentary on it, that kid's 19 years old, 20 years old, doesn't know what to do. He's so famous, and it ruined ruined him as a person. It ruined him as an athlete. He couldn't take those talents and do anything in the NFL. He was partying every week, and then waking up hungover, going to practice, not trying, making millions of dollars, technically not making it, whatever you want to call it, and all that stuff. It's there. Now they've just made it easier for
There's
more
a
people to
documentary
do
on that, isn't there?
Yeah, it's on Netflix. Johnny Manziel or Johnny Football.
Johnny
whatever.
Football.
Yeah. Not to, just a disclaimer. We're not sponsored by Netflix. Just yet.
They got some good documentaries. That quarterbacks one's pretty solid.
Yep.
If you're interested in that kind of a thing.
And not to get off topic, but that Jeffrey Dahmer documentary, I really enjoyed that one too.
I really enjoy a good serial killer watching.
You know what? There is a broader market for that than you realize, dude.
I know. I watched what was the one that I watched? A Murder Among the Mormons or something like that?
Yeah.
Yeah, that one was pretty interesting. Dude, forged, spoiler alert, forged these salamander letters, which was apparently the way that Joseph Smith, the founder of Mormonism, he said he found these gold tablets. Well, he made this document that basically said that he got all this stuff from the salamander letter. A salamander told it to him, not an angel with gold tablets.
Yeah.
And then it was highly contested. And it turns out he frauded it, and it was a few hundred years old. Like, he was able to make it fool dating mentality, and then finally they were actually able to determine that it was not correct. But on the way to him getting discovered, he was blowing people up, putting bombs in buildings, killing people, including himself. But I think the bomb blew up on him. So that's where it kind of was like, oh man, they tried to kill you too, huh? And he like was going along with it, but he was trying to deliver the bomb. Yeah. And the only reason he was caught is because somebody that saw the bomber go in, drop it off, later was at his house trying to help him and found the jacket he was wearing. That's the piece of evidence they were able to stick it together. His friend that he went in with the salamander letter on.
Yeah, he's probably like, this guy went a little too far and he tried to backtrack.
Yeah.
And he did, I guess. I mean, I don't know if a friend went to jail too, but
dude was a Mormon, but he was an atheist, actually, at the end of it. So yeah.
Oops.
Yeah.
But yeah, well, anything else to add to the NIL deal? I kind of took most of the time. Anything about
that's good. I think that it was fair. I mean, I think it's true. Hey, it is March. There is madness. So
yeah, I wish I would have filled out a bracket just to watch it burn. By the sounds of it. Yeah. Well, if nothing else, I think that's pretty much our time there, Derek. I think we had a good talk about March and Madness. Went a little crazy on NIL, and hopefully Caitlin Clark takes home that W at the end.
Yeah, I'm wishing her the best of luck. I hope she gets it done. I'm excited for her future. I think she's got a lot of good things out ahead of her. I'm excited for college athletes. I do hope that they figure out a way to like lid this thing a little bit, because I do think that there's some competitiveness being stolen from the market. Just I'm so careful about saying that, because I want these kids to get paid. They deserve to get paid if they're worth that money, which the market says that they are. It's just that it used to be you got the best quality of game a lot of times in college because kids had to make it.
Yeah.
They fought, yes, because they hadn't gotten the bag yet.
Yeah.
And so now that they're getting the bag early, it kind of dumps off on that. But hey, they're getting paid, and I'm happy about that. So all in all, I think it was good. Great topic, really. I mean,
yeah,
we had something to be said there. So
yeah, I agree. Well, hopefully they figure it out. I'll be interested to see the next couple of years play out when the NFL drafts, the pro drafts, from this NIL deals, and how many people stick around. So, but anyways, until next time, Derek.
I'm Derek,
and I'm Jared, and this is 2 Peas and a Pod.
Peace out, love y'all.